Hello, everybody. Welcome back to I'm Making You Watch This. My name is Stephen Bailey.
I'm Angela Kang.
And we are going to talk about a movie and a weird TV show today.
Was it ever on TV?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is PBS. This is my first intro. This is my first submission of a PBS show, and it will not be my last.
Understood.
PBS is near and dear to my heart. It's coming at you hard. This is your thing with reality TV. PBS is my.
I dig it.
In my wheelhouse. It's gonna be a fun one today. We're both really excited. Mm-hmm. Cue the music.
And we're back.
And we're here. All right.
Did we say what this is? This is I'm Making You Watch This? Yeah, I think you already said that.
Making you watch this. You can follow us on the social media, which we're both very excited about doing and keeping up with, and it's not taking over our lives.
Not in the slightest. I don't know how kids do it. Kids, really.
Could you imagine? Did you watch American Vandal?
No, I've heard good things, though.
That was very eye-opening for me as far as what it's like, I guess, to be in high school with like Snapchat and YouTube and Facebook and all that. Because Facebook started like right when we were finishing high school.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I could not imagine what that. I'm so glad that YouTube did not exist when I was like 7. Mm-hmm, there would be a lot of very embarrassing things online. Of me trying to make things.
There would be a lot of.
There already is a lot of embarrassing stuff online, but at least I'm not. Yeah.
There would be a lot of me singing into the camera, singing
for sure.
like choir songs or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just I'm listening to us talk about social media, and I've never felt older than right now.
Yeah.
Talking about kids and social media. Oh.
Because if you're 10 minutes late, then yeah, you're a grandpa.
Exactly. And I feel like a grandpa sometimes. But speaking of social media, you can follow and like our page on Facebook, I'm Making You Watch This, and follow us on Instagram at IMYWT Pod. That's Pod. Once again, IMYWT Pod on Instagram. We're
doing a lot more hand gestures this time. I feel like
I'm
pointing a lot. We're trying to get that energy up, y'all.
This
morning pod
again. Yes, I like the morning podcast. I think
it's fun. It's once you get into it, it feels better.
Yeah.
The half hour before where you're trying to frantically wake up to do it sucks.
Not so fun. Yeah.
Neither of us are really morning people. I'm not. Are you?
I don't know what I am anymore because
because
I'm a night shift nurse and my sleep schedule is non-existent.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
I slept all day yesterday because I got off work, woke up at 5, went to bed at midnight. Now I'm up, and then I got to stay up all night. I don't know. It's very confusing. My body hates me for it, and I'm paying for it with very dry skin. So,
well, I think that's also just it's been so cold.
Yeah,
so desperately cold.
24 degrees, I think today.
Stupid.
Yeah.
How do people live like this?
What about that
cyclone? Take me back to California now.
What about that like East Coast cyclone or something?
Winter Storm Grayson.
Is that what it's called?
I think so, which feels like such a kid's name. I work with a lot of kids. I work at a climbing gym, and a lot of kids come in, and Grayson is like what millennials name their kid.
I was just going to say, I know a Grayson, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know where I know it. TV? Real life, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. Son of Gray. I don't think anybody follows that anymore. All right, so this week, we switched it up a little bit. It was my turn to venture into left field.
Yeah. What? Do you think my picks were left field?
Not left field.
We got some requests from you loyal listeners that we should announce what we're talking about, so y'all can possibly watch beforehand and follow along. Be prepared to write us emails about things we're saying wrong, such and such. So we're gonna start announcing what we're watching days leading up to the release of the episode on our social media pages. So
right.
So, like,
Be sure to follow us.
yeah, shameless self-promotion. Again, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and then you can find out what we're watching.
It's almost like we're trying to trick you into following us on social media.
It's like, isn't there like some kind of hypnotist trick for some kind of pitch noise when you're telling someone to do something? And
oh no,
isn't it something like that?
I mean, that sounds like a thing. Like you hit a certain frequency,
Something,
and it's supposed to put them under,
Yeah.
or it's makes them more suggestible.
yeah. So it's not like we have that frequency going right now or anything. What's that sound? Is there a
Mad
fly in
scientist.
here?
Why did I pee my pants? All right, so this week, I went the television reality TV, not reality TV. It's man on the street interview.
Yeah.
Style. It's very regional. It's a regional show. So I lived in California for 5.5 years. In Southern California, I lived in LA, and there is a show on public television there called Visiting with Huell Howser, which is it used to be called California's Gold. Or California Gold, but he is a real charming man who goes around and explores the state of California and talks to the people there, and that's my description of it. That's kind of weird.
It's pretty accurate. I mean,
So we'll get more into that, but I think we're going to start with Angela's pick.
you want to? Okay.
I think so. I think that's what people really want to hear. And then maybe they'll stick around to listen about Huell Howser.
All right. Well, I picked. I was going through my list of things for asking Stephen, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And at the very last suggestion, he was like, yes, I've seen it. I was getting discouraged, and then I just threw it out there. Bridget Jones' Diary? He said no. And I said yes.
Strong.
Yeah, it was a
strong
all capital letters yes in the text message.
That's one of those that I think I fully admit that's a movie that I should have seen by now in my life.
You think so? I mean, even if you're not really into like the rom-com thing, you think that's something
I've never said I'm not into rom-coms.
Oh, okay. I don't just assume.
This is 2018.
Oh man.
2018, Angela.
I know. Sorry.
A man can like a rom-com.
True.
No, I do enjoy some rom-coms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm like obsessed with them.
Well, yeah. That would be a problem.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a problem either. I think people, people
okay.
like what they like.
All right, fine.
I have certain unnamed former roommates, very good friends of mine, who are all about rom-coms. And used to have stacks and stacks of DVDs that were on top of our fireplace of basically nothing but romantic comedies. You know who you are.
Mad respect from me right
and
here.
You know what? People like what they like, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But this is one that I had a preconceived notion of what I thought this movie would be.
Which would
be like your typical PG-13 romantic comedy. Will they, won't they?
Yeah.
It was not that.
No.
This is a hard R.
Yeah.
And it's very British. It's a British movie. Mm-hmm. It's 100% a British movie. I was expecting a much more sort of Americanized, sort of like what one of your suggestions was Maid of Honor, or a huge guilty pleasure of mine, which is P.S. I Love You.
I remember you talking about this.
I'm standing firm on this. No one is going to knock me off that mountain. I just love that movie.
There's
It hit me at a very specific time in my life, and I'm not going to let that go.
It came at the right time, huh?
It did. It definitely did.
There was 30 Rock is my favorite show, and I will reference 30 Rock a lot, probably on this podcast, as I do in real life, and I know my friends a lot. But there's this one part in 30 Rock where Liz Lemon is crying on the couch, and she's like, this movie is, or she's like, P.S. I Love You is so sad. No one should have to be married to Gerard Butler or Hilary Swank. Man, so I always think of that part when I think of P.S. I Love You.
There's another show where they debate on whether or not Hilary Swank is attractive.
The Office.
It's The Office. Yeah, they did that. Yeah, okay.
Not hot. Hot as a temperature, people.
So yeah, Bridget Jones' Diary. It came out in 2001, which is always interesting because it's always, where does this fall on the 9/11 pre or post? And this is definitely a very pre 9/11 movie.
Oh my God, where did this come from?
Wait, I went there.
Whoa!
But no. This is a very delineating moment in our history and our culture. Of we lived in this sort of rose tinted society pre 9/11, where you could see a very huge shift in pop culture, specifically with movies and television, where everything is sort of this rosy, happy, optimistic, naive almost time, and then everything after shifts to paranoia and questioning more things. And so it's that's just where my head went when I saw those 2001. I was like, oh, did this come out before or after? And it came out a few months before 9/11.
Man. Oy.
What? We could talk about these things. This is a podcast.
When I got here, I was like, 9/11 is something we're not going to talk about, so I'll leave those notes at home. I didn't bring those notes with me, Stephen.
Sorry.
I just think
hate to break it to you. It happened. But what's interesting, though, too, is this is a movie. Did you see this when it first came out?
In theaters, no. I don't know when I saw this, but no, I didn't watch it when it first came out.
Because it came out when we would have been in like middle school.
7th grade, I think, yeah. So yeah, no, I would not have seen this.
Right. Well, that's what's interesting, because like this is a movie that you would have seen well before you were the age of the characters. Where this is my first time seeing it, and I'm almost to the age of these people. Yeah. So it's almost
32.
I think it's. I wonder if that's going to make it how much of a difference that's going to make in our experience of watching it, of how much we like identify with it, or
for sure,
whatever. Anyways, so Bridget Jones's diary. It opens with a voiceover, much like she's reading from a diary, and then a diary appears and she's writing in the diary.
Yeah.
Which was just cinematic genius.
And she like starts out in the new year in the beginning of the movie, and it's the new year now. I didn't even
true.
mean for that to happen.
Oh wow, yeah. Because I was thinking like, oh, is this a Christmas movie? It's kind of like Christmas kind of happens.
I can see that, yeah.
In it, but I've never heard anybody talk about it during like as a Christmas thing.
It definitely could be one of those like on the Christmas list, I feel like.
Sure. So just initial take of this movie, I liked it. I did enjoy it a lot. There were parts of it where I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most charming thing I've ever seen.
Right?
It's very, very sweet in parts. It was way more British than I thought it was going to be. Like I said, I thought it was going to be like an American movie made in the UK.
Yeah.
And I was reading a little bit more about like the backstory and the history of it, and like the casting and all that sort of thing. And how controversial it was that Renee Zellweger played this part, that an American took over this role, because it was already a fairly popular book beforehand. Yeah. And so there was a lot of uproar and hoopla about it in the casting process.
The list of the women that were up for it is extensive too.
Is it?
Yeah, like.
I didn't see a bunch of that. I know that there's LA Times did an oral history about it a couple years ago. That was pretty fascinating. But how Renee Zellweger seemed to be fairly shielded from all of that while making the movie. But Renee Zellweger too. That's sort of she's an interesting person to talk about now, because was such a huge deal in like the early 2000s, because she did this, she did Chicago, then she later did Cold Mountain.
Forgot about that.
And then she kind of like disappeared for a while, and then she came back, and then she had like all the plastic surgery stuff.
Got all weird, yeah.
And then people, there's all this controversy about her face and all that. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Here's the list of the women up for it. It's like Patricia Arquette, Helena Bonham Carter, Toni Collette, Kate Winslet, Rachel Weisz, Catherine Zeta-Jones. It says that Kate Winslet was too young for the role, and Toni Collette was on Broadway at the time on The Wild Party.
The Wild Party,
yeah,
with Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah,
was it that? There's two Wild Parties, right?
Yeah, there is.
I don't know.
I don't think that's the one. No, I don't know.
I think it's with I'm pretty sure it's with Mandy Patinkin. I don't know if it's the Lipa one or the La Chuiza. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name.
I did sing one song from The Wild Party for it's in my repertoire book. My rep book.
Does that ever come out on the hospital floor?
No.
Do you guys have talent shows for the?
If there was, I would crush it. But no, I think my theater background is somewhat of a hidden talent to my coworkers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
it's just been revealed.
It has.
Okay, so there's a lot of smoking indoors in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a simpler time, a better time.
And one of her resolutions is to stop smoking as much. Smoking, drinking. What was her other resolution? Find some like nice boyfriend.
Yeah,
or
I think it's
nice man.
she keeps dipping into the wrong well.
Did you make resolutions this year?
I did not. No.
Because you're sensible and realistic.
Because I have no faith in myself.
Yes, or that. Yeah, okay.
We got Colin Firth again. Second week in a row. It's the 4th of July. I wrote that down. I actually wrote that down. Thought about it for 2 days. And then said it out loud. Which of these 3 windows should I jump out of? Then we got Moaning Myrtle. She's one of the friends.
Who's crying in a bathroom.
Right.
Again.
Right. That's a good one. Golly, stop crying in those bathrooms.
4th of July.
Professor Slughorn.
Yeah. You like that, I'm
is
sure,
in it.
right?
Yeah. And then Hugh Grant also makes a reappearance for us, not for anybody else. We're going to yet again allude to the episode that never was released.
Sam, we were never going to talk about it. Okay.
You'll never know what happened to it.
But yeah, it's another Hugh Grant appearance, like Steven said.
Looking real young.
Yeah.
Colin Firth, too, even though they were both pushing 40 at this point, which is fascinating.
Yeah. This movie was 2001, so I mean, I feel like this movie, just the way it looks, it doesn't look as old as it is. You know,
there are some things that sort of clue you into it. A lot of, I mean, besides just like the wardrobe and like things like that, and some of like the references and things, but they use a lot of Dutch angles with the camera.
Yeah.
At certain points where you're like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Tone it down. It feels like a music video at certain points. Speaking of which, though, that is the moment that gets you, is the very beginning when she's lip syncing to All By Myself.
Yeah.
Which is so charming. It really is. It really does hook you in. You can't help but just be lured in by Renee Zellweger, who's great in this movie. There's no denying it that she is 100% the girl next door, approachable yet glamorous, very funny. Physical comedy is so on point at times. She's fantastic. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love a good breakdown scene.
Yeah.
And that was
most of this movie.
Yeah. But what'd you think about her accent?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. I'm no accent expert. I think everybody just kind of has an ear for certain things, and so you know it. You only notice it when it's bad.
Yeah.
The only thing that I ever noticed at some points, it felt very deliberate. It felt like a little slow, maybe not as sunk in.
Yeah.
But again, what do I know? Honestly, what is my opinion worth in that? No, it's noticeably good.
Yeah, I read that Hugh Grant, or she kept the accent even like between takes and stuff, and Hugh Grant didn't hear her real like American accent until like after they wrapped, and he was like, "What?" So that was pretty neat.
That's cool. So yeah, so she makes these resolutions, and then she begins this affair with Hugh Grant's character Daniel Cleaver in a very like maybe in 2001 they sort of allude to the fact that this is all like against any sort of real office policies and would get you in trouble immediately. But
sexual harassment wasn't a thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I think there's like some awareness of that being at the beginning of like the internet age and all that sort of thing. But nowadays watching it, you're like, oh, what the heck are you doing? Like you'd be out like the next day. Like there's always somebody monitoring everything that you're doing.
Yeah,
like,
she's wearing that like sheer top at work and like not even a bralette. Come on.
Yeah, it feels closer to like Mad Men than it does to modern day, which just kind of shows how exponentially fast things are changing.
Yes.
In the past decade and a half or however long it's been.
I realize I haven't really seen a lot of Hugh Grant movies. I think like this and like Love Actually is my only like point of reference.
Yeah.
Does he?
Oh, and Cloud Atlas.
And Cloud Atlas. But we're not gonna talk about
Keep
that.
teasing them with this.
And are these the kind of character is this role for Hugh Grant a little bit different than the kind of stuff he plays? Is he like, because he's very much a playboy in this. Does he kind of play up to that kind of
Well, he's always
thing,
the sarcastic, like charming kind of a guy. I'm not a huge Hugh Grant guy either. I mean, Notting Hill is, I think, closer to what he does, which is
I actually have not seen that
You've
one.
never seen Notting Hill? Wow.
Shocker. I need to watch that in my free
I think
time.
he tends to be, his character type tends to be more of a self-deprecating, bumbling kind of, not bumbling, but maybe a little bit clumsy and
Okay.
not clumsy either. That's not the right word. But keeps stepping in it, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Keeps getting himself into sort of sticky situations. And this is much more of the chauvinist thing. So I think it's probably a little bit against type. But he's always that sort of charming.
Okay, I was just wondering.
How have I never seen anybody do the cat, like the big cat growling while revving their car before?
Did you love that?
I mean, yeah. Only I don't know that anybody could get away with it quite like Hugh Grant, but that feels like a thing like I should have seen by now.
Yeah.
Revving a Jaguar while growling like a Jaguar.
That was the moment you fell in love with Hugh Grant.
No, that I mean that cemented it. Sure.
Okay.
But we all were in love with Hugh Grant well before this.
When did Love Actually come out? Compared to
That was like 2004, I think. 2003, 2004.
okay.
Colin Firth, I was reading a little bit. Colin Firth was talking about this was Colin Firth's ever dip into any sort of romantic comedy. And now he's sort of known for doing romantic comedies, sort of like Love Actually. But had he not done this movie, he was saying he didn't think that he could have gotten
Kingsman?
Love Actually or Kingsman ultimately down the line,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is definitely a comedy.
This kind of mirrors Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was
Which
pretty-
I heard Darcy and I was like, okay, yeah, there's got to be some loose connection, which is like a second level bit of funny that because Colin Firth, like his career was catapulted from the
Mr.
BBC
Darcy.
Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
So I think that was, he was talking about that was sort of him trying to make fun of that a little bit and break free of that as well. There's a line that comes out in the beginning that lets you know the tone of the movie, which is the mom makes a comment about she looks like she just wandered out of Auschwitz, which is like, oh, okay, this is where we are. This is, I thought we were here. We're here, actually.
All right. And how she called the Japanese a cruel race.
Right?
Oh, no.
Good grief. What little I know about like the history of the movie or like the cultural reaction to it is so many women identified with her. This was sort of a breakthrough of her being a curvy girl, having two very handsome men fighting over her. Is there anything you'd like to speak to that? Because I can have no comment.
I mean, just the fact that people just kept saying she was like fat in this movie.
She put on 20 pounds, I think, for it.
Yeah, and like even then, I mean, like she's by any means, I don't know. I feel like maybe today's standards, she's by no means like fat.
No.
At least just the way they were making her sound, or like that one scene whenever she walks in the bathroom and Lara from America is sitting on the tub, and she says to Hugh Grant, she's like, I thought you said she was thin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
Also,
mean, she kind of is. Really.
Why is she like sitting there waiting for her to come? And then that's her opening line is to be that much of a jerk. Like,
yeah, I don't know. They really peg us Americans as being real bitches.
Yeah. That was, I didn't understand that moment. Except for, that felt like weird story logic, like plot logic.
Yeah. And then they were like engaged.
Right.
And then, I don't know what that timeline was. Oh, did you like how Miss Honey was in this?
Oh.
That's where you know her from.
Whoa. No, I didn't make that connection.
That is Miss Honey, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I thought she was American. See, there you go. Because she's American in Matilda, right? Was she not? I haven't seen that movie in ages. Legitimately, I have seen that movie, by the way.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, she did have like, I don't know if her American accent was like, I don't know. She was American, I'm pretty sure. But now I'm like second guessing myself.
At some point, somebody used the word parlously. I've never heard that word before.
What word?
Parlously? Parts of this movie felt a little bit overwritten. They felt a little bit like people don't talk like this, which is, I mean, if it's fine. It's very...
It's okay. Whatever.
It works. And I think that was the first third of the movie. I was watching it with subtitles on because I was eating.
This movie's good.
This has turned into an ASMR podcast. It's a lot of smacking. And so I think that was doing it a disservice, honestly, because I was reading it. I was thinking like, oh, this is
These words.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what there's a point to this. I don't know what my point is, but we'll pretend that it was very
Insert
astute.
point here.
It's an incredibly upper or middle class, whatever they call it over there, movie. The characters are all very posh. My favorite thing with like the posh accent is how they say the word happy. I'm so happy. They don't go quite that far. It's not quite like atonement. Or
Hippie. The Crown.
Yeah, The Crown. It's not quite QE2, but it's very. They're all incredibly posh.
Yeah.
Which is that definitely plays into the casting because that's Hugh Grant and Colin Firth to a T. Very. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure they call it middle class. If you're not quite like aristocracy, then what they think of as what we would call upper class, they call middle class.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, are you just guessing?
I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell from the parties they go to, dear God. Like, just all these, like, dinner parties and grand parties. Just so many parties in this movie. I just want to go to a party.
Soirees, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most magical moment of the whole movie is the boat scene.
I wrote that down, too.
That was the moment where I was watching it. I was the most swept away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my gosh, this just seems like such a carefree, very British, but also very loose and fun. And
that's the part where I fell in love with Hugh Grant. Like, that was my...
Right.
Like, it was cemented for me.
Yeah, that's
that
when
part.
he's at his most defensible.
Man, he so good. Hugh Grant. I don't...
Until he's not.
And then he's not again in the sequel, and then so forth and so on. Okay, I get Bridget Jones is supposed to be kind of like average, but she's supposed to be like... She is very beautiful and like very pretty and charming.
I wrote down right here. She is incredibly attractive in this movie.
Okay, I kind of think in this movie, Hugh Grant's level of attractiveness and what's the word I'm thinking of? Desire. What is the word?
Desirability?
Desirability is way higher than Bridget Jones.
You think she's batting up?
Yeah. So
that's what you're gonna say about a fellow sister.
I'm just. It's 2018. It's all about women supporting women. But I don't know. I couldn't really see why he went for her. I don't know. Kinda. Is that bad? I don't understand. That's how I feel.
I don't know. I see it.
You can.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
you get it.
There's yeah.
Well, then again, he's also sleeping with a beautiful American on the side. So,
right.
I mean,
I think if you had to stick like a name on it, it's very much like the girl next door kind of a thing who doesn't quite have everything together. And,
okay.
And it's like, I think it's that like, it's just, I mean, you can't talk like this anymore, but it's that approachability. I know. It's a weird thing to talk about today.
Yeah.
Again, this was something that was made 16 years ago. What?
Is it 17 now?
Made a face. 17. Well, it came out in 2001. They made it in 2000. 17, 18 years ago.
Okay,
whatever.
Okay. Math is hard.
But I don't know. I think this is an interesting conversation to have that I feel unqualified to have. But it's. I don't think you can make this movie today the same way.
Who would you cast today if you had to recast it? Like, do you know any of like?
Who could play Bridget Jones?
Sure.
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me think about it for a second. Because she's got to be. I was about to say Saoirse Ronan because she's everywhere right now, but she's too young for it.
Yeah.
Who's like hitting 30? Who's hitting
How
that?
about Jennifer Lawrence? Maybe.
Jennifer Lawrence.
You think she could be the new Bridget Jones?
Could she do the accent? You think?
I don't know.
Has she done a lot of accent work?
I don't think so. She's one of those actresses.
She's also too young, though. I mean, she plays characters who are way too old for her.
For real.
Well, it's okay. So it's that whole section of. Did you see Gone Girl?
Yeah.
It's that whole section of that movie where she talks about like having to be the girl who has like the supermodel body, but is willing to like drink 8 beers with you or whatever, and is able to do all these different things. This character feels a bit like that. That sort of weird, impossible standard that I don't think you could get away with making, especially now.
Okay.
which is strange to think about because at the time when this movie came out, it was such like a cultural moment for women of having this woman who was more realistic and more approachable. But again, there's this, I don't know, it's like this weird tension that's happening right now
I see what you're saying.
because on the one hand, she is this sort of role model for women of that time of being a shift in the right direction. But at the same time, watching it now, it does feel like an episode. It does feel like an episode of Mad Men of how she's treated in the workplace and how she kind of just rolls with the punches.
Yeah.
She doesn't really fight back that much in it.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's a weird pull. So I don't know that it could be made today. But casting wise, if you were to make it today, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who's funny enough too.
People aren't really funny anymore.
You know who I really love? Who could maybe do it? She's a little bit too broad for it. Like her comedy may be a little bit too big for it. But Jillian Bell is someone who thinks really funny.
Remind me.
Workaholics.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
I think she should be bigger than she is. She is so funny.
I could definitely see that.
I don't know how far she could go the other direction as far as like, because there have to be some serious moments of depth and like introspection in this movie that Renee Zellweger is able to do, like the vulnerability involved with it. So I don't know, but then again, this kind of movie isn't really made much anymore, like the traditional romantic comedy.
Rom-coms?
Yeah, like the middle budget rom-com isn't really there anymore.
It's on like Lifetime or they're Hallmark movies now.
Right, and they suck. They're so bad. So I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. So I just at one point I was writing, this is just an utterly charming movie. Hugh Grant's flat is really cool. A lot of exposed brick.
Swanky.
And huge. And then when she leaves, where is she walking? That there's like a forklift.
What?
So like she leaves like Hugh Grant's apartment. She's walking back into bunny costume. There's like a forklift that like goes past her. Like what route is she taking?
I don't remember that.
She's like walking by the docks or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's really strange.
I really do like her neighborhood though. I mean, we got like a little Greek restaurant downstairs where they have that fight scene and little shops around the corner. Right. So quaint.
Right. The fight scene.
Yeah. Like most of it was improvised, I think.
Was it really?
I think so.
It's that I think by like the hour, like the 1 hour mark, 1 hour 15. Well, it's not that long of a movie, but like around the hour mark, it kind of dragged for me a little bit.
You think? Okay.
But the fight was ridiculous,
and it
was like it's like the lightning is happening and it's raining men.
Yeah.
It's felt very much that. I mean this in a completely there's no good way of saying this. I'm not trying to make a sexist point, but this was the point when I watched the movie that I was like, oh, this was directed by a woman. And I don't mean, that's not a comment on whether it was good or bad. It was just definitely like a sensibility of like, okay, this was definitely, not directed by
a man.
A man. Yeah. It felt very much like it was, which is cool, which makes sense for the movie because this movie was made for women. Mm-hmm. Not saying that men can't enjoy it and men don't enjoy it, but it was definitely made from a woman's perspective, from a woman's point of view, and was made for a female audience.
Yeah.
And that felt very much like it was.
You think if this was directed by a man, the fight scene would have been like more action-packed, more realistic?
I'm not saying that the fight scene wasn't action-packed. And it could have been more realistic. And I think that's what's so charming. What's fun about the fight is that it's very realistic. Okay. Is that these are two poncy dudes who don't know how to fight.
Good word.
And so that's what works for it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the whole like entertainment aspect of it with like the commentary and like the moment where the gay best friend goes into the restaurant and says fight. Like a fight's happening.
Fight. Like, a real fight.
That was just like a really weird bit.
Speaking of the music, I love like the music, like the song picks in this movie.
Yes, it got a really crazy soundtrack.
The timing to like the songs are so good, and like the Raining Men, like the one song that sticks out to me, it's whenever she tells off Daniel in the office, and then it goes right into R-E-S-P-C-T. I was just like, man, girl power.
100%. Yeah, so I mean, we've kind of like skimmed over the plot, but people have seen this movie.
Did you know that? You know how Bridget says that Colin Firth was the one that took Hugh Grant's woman, in the very beginning?
Yeah.
did you believe him, or did you know straight away that Hugh Grant was like the bad guy?
Knew straight away.
Okay.
Because this is that movie.
Yeah.
There was no... Yeah, I don't think that was... Maybe in 2001 that would have been a surprise, but I don't think it ever was. I don't think it's...
So whenever he was going on and on about that story at dinner, where you're like, yeah, I don't believe
he's full
this.
of it, 100%. I think they were setting it up that way, and I think that they clued enough into that character as like a scumbag.
Yeah.
That I'm not saying... Sure, they were going for a reveal, maybe some people didn't see it, but I think most people watch that and think, oh, no, of course not.
You're like,
we're so...
What? No.
We've been so educated by movies at this point.
We're so jaded.
To expect those kind of twists and stuff. We live in a post-Game of Thrones world.
We do. Bringing it back. Did you like the ending? How he was reading the diary and then he walks out and she's like, "Where are you going?" And she chased after him. And
that was
like,
weird. That was a weird thing. That was definitely another one of those weird plot logic things where it's like, okay, we want to have some sort of a surprise at the end.
Yeah. But
why would he leave to do that? Like,
right
why would
in the middle
why would he be like a huge jerk to do that?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's a weird joke to play on somebody.
It's very cruel.
Because you're already on kind of like touchy ground.
Yeah.
As it is. So yeah, it's really strange.
He couldn't have been like...
I mean, it works.
Hey.
I think it works for the magic of the movie or whatever. Yeah. But like character-wise, it feels very unmotivated. But again, it's not that kind of movie. So, there's another line that really got me. I think this might be my favorite line of the whole movie was whenever she is celebrating New Year's Eve with her... Is it New Year's Eve? No, it's the end of the Christmas because they're both wearing the Christmas crowns, the Christmas hats, whatever. And she says, "I'm going to Bedfordshire."
Why? Why did I not know?
That got me. That really got me in a special place.
I think I had two quotes. I didn't write it down, so I'm kind of going off the cuff. But the first one is whenever Bridget is at that dinner party with all the married couples, and they're like, "Bridget, why are there so many unmarried 30-year-olds?"
Yeah, like that's not a real thing. Nobody would say that. That's not a real conversation.
Yeah, okay, fair. But, yeah, okay.
Which, again, this is a specific genre movie, so there's specific rules. So those sorts of things, I guess, would happen in that world. But that's another one of those forced kind of, like, character-y things that I don't understand. That doesn't work for me.
Gotcha. Well, she goes on to say, like, well, she's like, I don't know, but... something like, I guess it doesn't help that underneath our clothes, our body is covered in scales. It's like, yeah, you tell him. And then like another part, she pretty much confesses to Colin Firth. She's like, I like you at that Ruby wedding party at Colin Firth's house or something. And she's going on about the things that she likes and dislikes. And she says, and I disagree with the length of your sideburns. Sideburns.
Well, see, he didn't have those the whole movie, right? Those like
the sideburns?
Yeah. Did they change? I didn't notice until she said that.
I didn't either, so I don't know. But I saw like a screenshot of the Pride and Prejudice that he was in, and his sideburns were pretty lengthy. So.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, for what it's Firth.
What did you say?
I tried to make another.
Well, for what it's Firth?
Oh man. So many regrets. So many regrets.
Firth of July.
Which makes zero sense. Don't overanalyze it. There's a couple of weird slow motion moments in this movie. One of them was a definite afterthought. Whenever she like opens the door to the other one, the New York woman in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, that was kind of weird. Watching this now, like the older I get.
I was gonna say, what is this movie for you now?
Well, when I first watched it, I don't know how many years ago. I kind of saw it basically as like rom-com. Oh, like you said earlier, I kind of saw it as will they, won't they, very basic rom-com kind of. But this is years and years ago, and then I guess watching it now, and last night. I'm sitting there like watching it so pissed off almost like at Bridget Jones for falling into Hugh Grant's traps, I feel like. And I didn't really watch it that way in the beginning, but now as an older woman, so many red flags that neither I nor Bridget Jones caught in the beginning, and he lays out so many of those typical like guy lines and guy traps and emotional warfare and like psychological cutting down. I just like there's just the whole like I can't remember what part, but he's like, oh, I'm a mess without you if I can't make it with you. And okay, the part where they go away for the weekend to that party, the Tarts and Vickers party.
Yeah, the mini break.
And granted, they've only been like sleeping together for a couple weeks. Okay, I get that. And maybe she should not have said I love you so fast. I get it. But there's one part where they're lying in bed together. And
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, lying in bed together. And she's like, what does she say? She's like, do you love me or something? And he's like, don't make me do what I did to you before or something. And he's just like totally avoiding the question. And he's just like not being straightforward with her and just redirecting the conversation to get what he wants, which, is more, nookie. And that was just a part where I'm like, no, Bridget. Oh, come on. She's just like giggling and going along with it. And I don't know. It's just watching these mistakes she makes and her falling into these traps and being so swept up. I mean, right. I get it. I think we've all been there. But watching it, it's like, man, that really sucks.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying too about like, could this movie be made today? Partly because of like how she gets treated for a lot of it without a lot of like pushback. But also too, like, yeah, have we been so trained with so many of these movies that does the traditional rom-com even make sense anymore? Because so much of it is built on this weird logic of like putting up blinders and not seeing these things. Or is this still a reflection of real life?
I think this is I think this can, like moments like those, like I said, where Hugh Grant's trying to like deflect and I think a lot of it, maybe not necessarily the parts in the workplace can stand true, obviously, but I think everything else, like behind closed doors, the conversation she has with these guys, I think definitely is still very like fresh, up to date.
Yeah.
So I think if you insert those parts and those scenes, conversations into a movie made today, it would still hold true, I think. Because guys be playing girls like that.
Tale as old as time. All right. Any other last thoughts on Bridget?
I was very impressed with her ability to keep a diary for a whole year.
Right?
Whoa.
I forgot about that whole, like, because they don't really talk about the diary for most of the movie.
Right.
Until, then 2/3 of the way through, it just magically comes back. And you're like, oh, yeah, right. She's supposed to be writing all this down. Yeah, she has a moment where she's, like, sitting down writing in her kitchen. I was like, who does that? Who takes the time to do that?
Who finishes a diary, truly?
Really? Yeah, I don't think I had
But you liked it. Yeah,
I did.
Oh, good.
I won't say from beginning to end, but there were definitely moments in it that I was... It played to the Anglophile in me, for sure.
I would not watch the sequels then.
Got it.
Maybe one day there's absolutely nothing else to watch. You can watch the second one, but don't watch the third one. That's
the impossible situation because there's always other things to watch these days. There's way too much to watch. All right. That was Bridget Jones.
Nice.
Moving on to visiting with Huell Howser.
When you told me this, I was like, okay, I feel very uneducated because I don't know who this man is. And I'm thinking that this guy was someone that I should know who this man was.
Absolutely not.
Okay, now I feel better.
You have no reason to have any idea who he is.
I was feeling really bad that I had no idea who this guy was at first. So
this is a very California-specific TV show.
Joe, I told him I was watching this and he goes, oh, are you going to watch the San Diego one? And I'm like, oh, you've heard of this guy? Have you seen it before? Have you seen that episode? And he goes, hell no, I haven't seen that. Oh, okay. But it's on YouTube.
Yeah, so most of the episodes are online.
There are like 103 of these episodes on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
he did a bunch of them. Because he did it for like 30 years. So Huell Howser he's a TV presenter. He was on PBS. He recently passed away in 2013.
Oh, rip.
But he is he does these like man on the street, not man on the street even, but like he does these pieces on different places in California, usually off the beaten path. And he'll go, and what's so fun about them is it's very clear he's made little to no preparation at all before going. He has Louis the cameraman and a microphone and the biggest personality this side of the Mississippi.
I fell in love with him.
All he does is just walk up to random strangers in these interesting places and just start talking to them.
Yeah. I don't think you can do that now, really, unless you're Billy Eichner.
Maybe, yeah. He's what I love about him, and I think a lot of people who watch it, their first take is like, oh, look at this country bumpkin wandering around California talking to people and just being weird. What I love about him is there is not an unsincere bone in his body. He is genuinely curious about everything around him.
Yeah.
And genuinely curious about the people that he talks to.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because in California, in Los Angeles, that's such a counterintuitive thing.
Okay.
Living in LA is anybody who's lived there can attest to this, especially if you work at all in like entertainment. There's always this thought in the back of your head going on of like, what can I get out of this person? Or what is this person trying to get out of me?
That's a terrible way to live.
It's the whole city. It's this very surface level, superficial way of thinking that just sort of pervades every relationship you have if you're not careful. I'm not saying everybody's like that. Of course not. And of course, not everybody that lives in Los Angeles has anything to do with the entertainment industry. But people who are in that world can definitely identify with that. And I think that's probably why I get so caught up watching Huell Howser, is he's almost an antidote to that. He's an antidote to that because he's the opposite. He's very unironic. What you see is what you get. And he cares about the people that he talks to. You can tell that he is genuinely curious about everything.
Yeah.
It's easy to make fun of him because of his accent. He's from Tennessee.
Can you do Huell Howser?
A little bit.
Well,
because he always makes these like he'll be watching something and he'll make the most obvious statement there can be, like he went to one where he like went to where they make mozzarella cheese, and so like they make them out of water buffalo, make it from the milk of water buffaloes, and so they go up to the water buffaloes, and the first thing he says, of course, is, "So these are the water buffaloes." You're telling me that they make milk? Which is, I mean, yeah, it's easy to make fun of him for that. But again, like the sincerity involved with how he approaches these people is, I find so whenever I try to explain to people who he is, my comparison is he's one part Forrest Gump and the other part Bill Clinton.
Like very good. Yeah.
He's got that simple quality to him. But he also could just charm your pants off. Like, he's just that guy. And everybody who sees him is always so excited to see him, too. Assuming that they recognize him from TV, which most people do, who are on his program. They're all like, I'm going to be on California Gold. This is going to be great. Anyway, so I was having a hard time picking an episode because there are so many of them. And I was trying to figure out what aspect of it that I want to do, because there's a few episodes that you could pick that are just weird, where he just goes and visits a weird place. But I wanted to pick one that he encounters a lot of people and shows as many of those moments where you can tell he's walking up to somebody who had no idea that this was going to be happening today. Yeah. And just talks to a random stranger. The one I picked is the one where he visits the Salton Sea, which is this weird geographical like landmark in Southern California. It's like 2 hours outside of LA in the desert, where what used to be like a resort location in the 50s
That's what they said.
Now just like a rundown like mobile home park.
Yeah.
And it still has some sort of like tourist attraction for some people, but for one thing, he goes in the winter, in the off season when nobody's there except for the people who live there. So there's none of the like the touristy thing. What little tourism is left isn't there anymore. So I genuinely think he opens up a map, points at it, and says, "Let's try this today."
Well, that was definitely the first question I wrote down. Why this episode? Because I watched two. I watched this one in the Bunny Museum, and we'll talk about that.
Right.
But this one was, like you said, him. It starts out with him just walking up to this car at a stop sign, and the guy's like, "Hey, yeah, what? No." And it like Huell Howser he's asking him like questions about where he lives, and he's like, "Do you like living here?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, that's nice. Yeah." And it's just like, okay, so this is how it's gonna be,
Right?
And
then the wife starts talking, and immediately like,
wait, let me walk over to this side of the car.
That's what I love too, is because there's just the one microphone.
Yeah.
So he's always having to like adjust to like get to the other person.
Yeah.
But like the other person could be talking, he would just pull the microphone away in mid sentence and give it to the other person.
Where they're talking and then you're done.
Exactly.
So Salton Sea is like this body of water in the middle of the desert or something.
It's completely like trashed now. Like nobody.
It looks like crap.
Yeah.
In this episode, he's asking people. He's going up to these different people. He goes up to this man named Wayne. People call him Wacky.
Mayor Wacko.
Is he really the mayor of this place?
I don't think so. I think that's just Huell. Just
being Huell.
deemed it so.
Gotcha. And in the beginning, he just walks up to a bunch of people and put the microphone in their faces, and he asks this one person, I can't remember who, he's like, "Well, why do you like living in Bombay Beach?" And the person's like, "Because it's quiet." And then goes for a beat and then change scenes. Like, these edits are so funny. And just the reaction of these people when they get, some of these people were just not into it, I feel like. And I thought that was pretty funny. And
well, would you, if somebody wandered up to you, like, clearly you live in the desert, so you don't want...
They moved there because it's quiet,
Exactly. And then you just have this loud man approach you out of nowhere.
At your mailbox with a microphone.
Exactly.
And he just kind of visits these different places called, like, there's the Ski Inn.
Yeah.
The Sky Inn, but he mispronounced it and he got corrected. And he goes to a bar, I think it's an abandoned bar, sorry.
Right.
And then there's one scene where he's by this abandoned bar talking to Wayne, and they look down, there's a picture on the ground, and they're like, they just a random picture on the ground, and they're looking at it, both of them are like, "What is this from?" And he's like,
I wonder
know.
I wonder how much he's like, as I know he just shoots everything, but he doesn't cut out that much.
It doesn't look like it.
So I wonder how much of that is just he wants all that stuff in there, or he just doesn't have enough footage. Because he says like they spend the whole day there, but it doesn't look like much time has passed. So I wonder if he just keeps all that stuff in, because I gotta hit 26 minutes.
Yeah, you said earlier he's like not prepared at all.
Right.
At least that's what it seems like.
Right.
Well, I wrote that. I said he gets corrected a lot by the folks.
100%.
Like, "Oh, so this is the Sky Inn. Ski Inn. Okay, Ski Inn." And then he's like, "Okay, so there's only one bar here now, right?" "No, there's two." It's just getting corrected a lot, and I think that's pretty funny because you can tell not much research. He's relying on the people to tell him. I feel like so.
Yeah.
I said this place looked like a blast zone, or it looks like a nuclear testing site.
Yeah. Well, that's what they talk about. They shoot a lot of like post-apocalyptic like movies there.
Yeah, probably the hills have eyes.
Maybe.
Or like holes or something.
Exactly.
And there was a lot of death that happened in this town. Or they reference a lot of death.
Like personal tragedy stuff. Like, everybody's like, "Yeah, this was the bar, but yeah, the couple that owned it died, or the couple that owned it split up and they're not together anymore."
Yeah. And like Wayne says,
things that should be edited out.
Exactly.
Gets kept in.
This is not looking really good, guys, for Salton Sea. And this bar, and Wayne's like, "Yeah, that's where my girlfriend burned up in that fire." Cut to next scene. Whoa. And then they walk along the beach, and he's not a police officer. He's like
That's a park ranger.
Park ranger. He's walking along the beach with Huell, and somebody says, "Yeah, this is where the fish all come up and die." And Huell picks up a freaking dead carcass, and he's, "Look at these bones," and he's crunching on the bones. Oh, and there was they turn around and say, "Yeah, that's where that burial ground where people kick the bucket." Next scene. Beat next scene.
I love it so much.
And they talk about how they're doing a lot of correcting or a lot of promotion or damage control, because he was like, y'all get a lot of bad press or bad publicity, and I hear you shouldn't swim in this water. It's not
no.
good.
You could swim in the water. It kills all the fish, but you could still swim in it.
Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe all the people die in this town because they swim in the water. Maybe. But there's a lot of like I said, damage control,
or pride.
Oh,
pride in where they live.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Because the ranger, for sure, is the most, seems the most prepared of the bunch. I think they may have talked to him beforehand.
You think so?
Or he just has that spiel ready to go because he's a ranger. So that's part of his job is to, explain the area. But he used a word that I've never, have you heard of recreated as a verb before?
Never.
Recreated.
Yeah. It's like,
it's just very non-specific of, yes, over here they recreate. And over here, the humans do this.
I'm a human.
We're
all humans, not mutants.
Salton Sea, maybe.
And they have one part where they walk up to this RV park where they talk to Lee, who has a bad knee. And I got very much Reno 911 vibes.
Yeah.
Because it was very much like the Dusty Desert walking up to this RV park.
Yeah.
And he's interviewing Lee, who's like in charge of this RV park, and he's talking about some of the bad things that people have to say or whatever, and she's like, saying no, and then she goes, well, if you put the bad news out, you're a dead duck. And then Huell just looks at the camera like and then it goes to the next scene.
There's a lot of aware moments for sure.
Yeah,
in the edit.
I would have liked to see what it looked like years ago in its prime when Frank Sinatra was
You think
boating.
It would be more of like a historical, and I think on some of the episodes where he visits place, he does more like archival footage and things like that. But this one, not at all. He just shows you what it is today and like a map of it. That's it.
I was laughing I was just laughing a lot during this episode.
That's good.
And at the end, they had him and the ranger were kind of wrapping things up. And then they were interrupted by this siren going off. And they were like, well, okay, something. And I was thinking, oh my God, it's Silent Hill. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Silent Hill. It's that alarm that goes off in the town, which basically signifies that the place is turning into like hell and that the creatures are coming out. So I just pretty much got those vibes that Huell Howser better get the hell out of there before those creatures, the mutant creatures, start crawling out of the salt water. And the end music to the episode, did you pay attention?
I was trying to place it.
It was so ominous.
Was it Star Wars? I felt like Star Wars. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, no, it was very like, I don't know if they were trying to play something that maybe they shot there at one point or whatever. But yeah, it's...
the whole tone of this, or just this whole vibe of this place was very much, he'll get the hell out of there. Get out of there. Go. It was like very much a trap.
Don't let the sun set.
No, that's what the siren was. It was sunset. That's what that signified. And I love... the last note I had was that the park ranger was saying, trying to, talk this place up, trying to get some business stirring up to the folks watching California. What is it called? California Gold?
Yeah, or visiting with Huell Howser.
Visiting with Huell Howser. So he was like, well, anybody can go to Disney World, but why don't y'all come here? And I'm thinking, yeah, to this tetanus trap, Rust Bucket. I'm curious to go there now. I mean, it worked.
Oh yeah, I drove past it once.
You did? What'd it look like? That,
yeah. Well, it's funny because you don't play video games.
No.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is basically Los Angeles, and there's this area in it that's basically a recreation of Salton Sea. They actually call it Bomb Bay.
Funny. Oh, funny. Shout out.
Yeah.
So I watched that one, and then I just watched the Bunny Museum episode quickly after that, just because I wanted more.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I was thinking about doing because it's so weird. But he only talks to that one woman the whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's a real place. It has a website.
Yeah.
You can visit it. It's in Pasadena.
Have you been?
No. I couldn't brave it. But because I haven't watched that one in a little while. But it's got she's got the topiary out front.
Yeah. They actually moved locations. They actually got a bigger place.
Oh, you researched it.
Yeah, I did.
All right, did you buy a plane
It's
ticket?
like $8 for admission or something.
The chemistry between those two
Hey, now.
is pretty palpable.
Hey.
It's a little one-sided, but it's there.
I think I wrote that down too. But yeah, it's this woman's
Thirsty.
house. Oh man. It's this woman's house, and she has so many bunny items and collectibles that she turned into a museum. And
It's scary.
yeah.
It's like niche hoarding.
If this wasn't called a museum and on a different channel, this would be called Hoarding Buried Alive.
You just have to change a little bit of the incidental music, and
Yes.
it's a different show.
My
entirely.
Strange Addiction right here.
Mm-hmm.
But every 98% of the items in this home, first of all, it's covered head to toe, side to side with bunny stuff. Like
Straight up.
there's like maybe just a pathway to room. But all the items her and her husband bought for each other. Like that's how they got these bunny items. It's not like donations or anything. Like these are strictly items this woman and her
Did she
husband.
say how much money didn't she like estimate how much money it was?
What? I missed it
Did
because
that
I
happen?
was very
couldn't remember
curious.
if she did or not. So it's because I'm wondering. Yeah, it's gotta
I
be
didn't notice it.
in
So
the thousands at least.
how
tens.
much debt are these people in?
bunny related debt, and how much? Yeah, what's the overhead compared to like what the admission fee is?
I-
for, like, the
I don't
museum?
know.
Does it make money?
They got 11,000 visitors in 8 years or something like that.
It's not a lot.
It's like, yeah. Well, she was saying that, and Huell Howser was like, in 1 year? She's like, no, in 8. Oh. The rule obviously is no touching, but he could not keep his hands off things.
Nope, because he's Huell Howser. He can't keep your hands off of the things or the people.
No.
He's a handsy guy.
He is. He's very much personal space
Yes.
talker.
Yes.
But he just kept. She was getting really pissed off. I could tell, but she was trying to keep like the nice face. She was like,
And this is
"Oh,
the
no
closest you
touching."
get. Well, I feel like the closest you get to him being like weirded out by something, because usually he's just like game for anything. But even
Okay,
he was like, okay.
He was very much uncomfortable at
Yeah.
points. This is out of control. You gotta know this is out of control. What? No, it's cute. It's cute.
Okay.
They never show the husband. She's
No.
talking like, where is he?
No.
She killed him.
Turned him into a bunny.
Bunny. He's in the topiary
There's
out
like
front.
this weird surgery happening where he's getting.
We don't show the bedroom because that's where my husband is in the process of being turned into a bunny. God. I have to say, I do enjoy a collection. Mm-hmm. And I
It's part of you respect it.
yes. They were categorized and everything, and I was very impressed. And I would have been like him, I would have touched everything too.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm very much, when I go shopping and stuff, I touch everything. Like, if I'm not even looking at it, I touch it.
I don't know that you have the same free pass that Huell does, though.
You don't think so?
It's because he's so handsome.
Charming. There's a commercial that Elijah Wood did for this.
For the Bunny Museum?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's 3-parter on YouTube.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
It's pretty odd.
It's
It's on Funny or Die.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and they don't show the bedroom or the bathroom, and those are the rooms I want to see.
The bunny toilet, the bunny
Yes.
shower curtains,
Yes, I want to see those things.
the bunny shower head that's just vomiting water on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's Huell Howser. He's like, yeah. Well, I mean, I was already sold because I'm such a PBS kid. Mm-hmm. I didn't have cable for most of my childhood, so
So did you watch this
watched a lot of.
when you were a kid?
No,
when
this
did-
only airs in California,
Oh,
as far as I
okay,
know.
okay.
But I watched a ton of PBS. So when I got to LA, I was just like, oh, turn on PBS, get really excited because I find out over there they have like 8 different PBS channels. So they have like PBS, PBS2, like PBS Kids. Then they have like they have what's called the First Nations Experience Network, which is all like Native American. It's a completely Native American, like made by Native Americans for Native Americans, like programming.
FUBU, for us, by us.
Basically. And then they have one called Create, which is all just like the cooking shows and like the woodworking, and Rick Steves Europe, which is another big one for me. I may make you watch that one too.
Okay.
So I was already like super into like PBS, and then I find this show, which is just right up my alley. It also too, it's sort of, my appreciation for it grew with my love for California.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people moving to LA, it's sort of like a roller coaster of like, I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it. And I finally kind of grew on me over time to where I got to where I really enjoyed it. And this sort of helped cement that, because he goes all over the state. So you can find a map online of everywhere he's visited. He's been all over.
Neat.
And he just finds all like the weirdest stuff.
I did post, I think, a picture, and I put Huell Howser as a hashtag, and we got a like from a page, I think, that does podcasts about Huell Howser.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Love that. Love the cross-pollination happening there.
But the Bundy Museum definitely is still a place, and it's still, people can go there.
Somebody please go and report back.
Yes.
Please.
Man, I want to go to these places.
Yeah.
It's neat. And touch everything.
He's done his job.
He has. Yeah, he sure has. Oh, rest in peace.
All right. That was episode 4.
Yeah.
We did it.
Very good. I liked it. I liked our picks.
Couple strong picks. Yeah, before we sign off, one more plug of the old social media.
Shameless promotion again, once again. Y'all can like and follow us on Facebook at I'm Making You Watch This. And then Instagram, follow us at IMYWTPod, P-O-D. That's IMYWTPOD.
Twitter, too.
Are we on Twitter?
Yeah.
Are you in charge of that?
I guess.
I'm not familiar with the Twitters.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
And I think we're on Snapchat, too.
We have one just to have one, but
okay.
That's a brave new world for me.
And then we're going to have like a LinkedIn, and then we're going to have a waiter account, and I don't know. Who knows?
Pinterest.
Yeah, look out for those possible ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like we said, we're going to start announcing our picks on the social media pages. So if y'all want to
watch along.
Yeah, be fun.
All right. Until next time, my name is Stephen Bailey.
Angela Kang.
And this was
I'm Making You Watch This! On it, really.
How is an entire population composed entirely of aunts and uncles? Biologically, it makes no sense.
We're all aunts and uncles.
Where are the parents?